Next on our series of opening gyms, we've brought in professional speaker, gym owner, well, multiple gym owner and consultant Dan Kleckner to talk about his special niche of semi-private gyms. That special niche? Golfers. Welcome to Naamly University Online. I'm Elias Scar. Dan, thanks for coming, man. I'm so excited to have you. Our audience is very excited to have you when it comes to the incredible challenge of opening a gym and deciding what kind of gym for what kind of people and what kind of demographic and whose my niche is going to be. There are so many decisions that are hard to make that when we can get a pro like you to help us iron it out and help us narrow down and focus. I think there's a lot of benefit to be gained from that. And I know today I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about that golf niche. So can you give me an idea of just, the gym in general, and then how did we get into the golf space? Give us an idea of how you got started.
Yeah, so we opened up about 10 years ago. I was lucky enough to be mentored by Thomas Plummer and Rick Mayo, kind of the godfathers of semi-private training. So
Yeah.
we implemented the semi-private training model from day one. And then we opened up a second location here about 5 years down the road. And in between that, I actually opened up a gym in Montana as well, which the idea with that was to kind of go to a totally different market, totally different demographic. I had a business partner I was working with there and really be able to test our systems at a totally different place and see if it was scalable and see if we were able to run it, in a totally different area, totally different demographic. Luckily, we were successful with that, and then that led us to opening up our other location here. But as far as the golf stuff is concerned, I was fortunate enough to get connected with Jason Glass pretty early on, who's the main fitness guy for TPI, and really just learn. I went to his mentorship and really just learned the TPI model from him. And what we figured out is our semi-private model was great. That was a differentiator for us because not a lot of people in our area were doing it. But an even better differentiator was also working with golfers. In Seattle is a huge area for golf, very affluent golf demographic here. So we were able to kind of take that TPI model. And actually, our second location we opened up was very TPI specific from the sense of we have 3 TrackMan bays there. We have 6 instructors there. It's kind of the all-in-one golf facility under one roof that the TPI model is based off of.
Wow, that's phenomenal. I mean, there's so much you said there that I love. One is you talk about your mentors, your coaches, getting connected with people in the business. There's nothing I love to hear more than hearing coaches who have coaches. Like it's just you think it's a no-brainer, right? You're a coach. Wouldn't you believe in finding the right coaches and the mentors to follow? So I think that's outstanding. And it sounds like, with bringing on your other coaches in your team and really growing and expanding, you're taking on some of that role yourself, even especially now with that with us in coaching our audience here. When it comes to golf, I have to ask, was this a passion decision? Like, do you really like golf, or was this a business decision as in, oh, this is a viable market and I'm going to tap into that?
It definitely started with my passion for golf. My dad got me started on it when I was younger. I never played it in high school or college or anything, but kind of always played it since I was a kid. And then once I played football in college, and once I got done with football, I was kind of looking for another, competitive outlet, and got back into the golf. And then we had a ton of clients over here that were golfing, so it just kind of made sense to get back into it that way. And I'm, yeah, definitely still a very avid golfer. And then once I realized the passion of it and also realizing there wasn't a whole lot of people in our area doing the TPI golf fitness stuff, the passion and the business side of it kind of merged together, and we were fortunate enough to create a business plan for it as well.
What a great combo. I like it. People want to buy it, and there's not enough people servicing it. That's the
Exactly.
perfect combo. Yeah, I'm a huge
Yeah,
fan.
exactly.
So give me an idea of what do you find that's different about golfers? Can you describe how, essentially how you, I mean, I know you're in it, so you have the mindset of understanding what it is to golf, because everything I've always heard about golfers is all golfers want to do is more golf. They'd rather spend time on the course. So how did you how did you tap into the specific needs of golfers, and what did you discover when it came to servicing them in the fitness world?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think the first thing with golfers is they're very type A. So if you can kind of explain to them what they're getting out of the workout and the service and stuff, they're a pretty easy group to sell on your services because they'll spend, $500 on a new driver, they'll spend thousands of dollars on new whatever it is to be able to drive the ball further. And, for a lot of people also play injury free so that they can keep playing 2, 3, 4 times a week without having back pain and hip pain and all that kind of stuff. So I think if you can learn to kind of speak the lingo with golfers and communicate to them, since a lot of them are that, type A personality, then it's a pretty straightforward thing to sell because TPI does package it well to be able to do the TPI screen, sell them on the areas where they're weak at, sell them on the areas, how they can drive the ball further, more consistently, play injury free, all that kind of stuff. And it just gives you the tools to be able to really sell the whole golf fitness process to these prospective golfers.
Yeah, now that you put it that way, it's the perfect client. You've got goal-oriented people that are willing to and able to invest in their success. Like that's exactly who you want to train.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I know when it comes to like equipment and facility and putting together the right place, you've got like that spot that new spot that you've put together essentially is like the Mecca. It's got every single thing you need. Can you give us what a starting version might look like? Is it just regular gym stuff that to help people get, stronger, more mobile, more functional, or are there some like must-tos and have-tos when it comes to being set up to coach and train golfers?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. I think honestly, you don't need a whole lot. Like because we were lucky enough to start off in kind of the functional training world, like I'm sure a lot of your listeners have. There isn't a whole lot different we need equipment wise. We get all of our equipment through Perform Better. We always have it's your standard like kettlebells, bands, free weights, TRX, all the normal stuff you would use for functional training. I think a good cable system is a must. We use Free Motion for that just to be able to do all the rotational stuff you need to do. And then from there, it really just depends on like how much you want to trick it out and how much you want it to feel like a golf facility. I will say both our locations here in Seattle, we do have the simulators for people to be able to get lessons on and be able to practice on and stuff. And that helps us a lot because people come in and it's a very golf feel. So if you're a golfer and you come in, you're like, yeah, this is where I want to train. I can practice, I can get instruction, I can do the gym stuff. But as far as just doing the gym stuff, the equipment isn't too much different than what you would see in a normal training gym and stuff. You can just get outfitted through somebody like Perform Better.
Yeah, I think that's an outstanding point. Regardless of the material or the equipment that you have, it's got to feel like a place where golfers belong. Like having a golfer walk in and go, "Oh yeah, okay, this is where I belong. This is my space." That's just great marketing and great thought process of building the right culture and community. And that's good culture advice. Does this feel like the spot that I belong in? And I would assume for golfers, that's a really big deal.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah. They always want to. I mean, they have their country club or their course, but they also want to have a place where they belong when they're coming in for their workouts and to practice and stuff like that as well, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, with that in mind, what does the marketing and messaging look like when it comes to when it comes to talking to golfers? Because I usually find that like most golfers have a golf coach, right? Or they got a golf pro
Mhm.
where they're learning how to do their swing, how to do, how to actually exercise the skill set of golf. So I'm assuming marketing skill set training really isn't our bag, more of putting the right tools in your belt in order to use those skills most effectively. How do you get that kind of messaging working?
Yeah, I think the marketing stuff for golfers is interesting because you have to have the normal stuff in play. Like you have to have a good website, SEO, social media, all that kind of stuff. But we've actually had the most success getting golf clients through kind of the old school grassroots, like organic marketing. We have several country clubs here that we go into their club and do free TPI screens for the members, which is an easy way for us to kind of sell our services and show the golfers the areas they need to work on. The great thing about TPI too is you have the golf instruction and the medical side of things as well. So we partner with a lot of like physical therapists and chiros in here that are under kind of the TPI umbrella. Like I last week I was just doing a TPI seminar at a local physical therapy clinic here that we got several clients off of. And then also partnering with the golf instructors. That's the biggest thing. Because if they see that they could expedite their client getting better results by also working on the body, then it's a no-brainer for them to refer out to the body side and the fitness side of things as well. So, you have your normal social media, you have all that kind of stuff. But I think the grassroots marketing, building relationships with other providers in the area, getting into these country clubs and really just getting in front of people. Because I feel like with golfers, being able to sell them when you're in front of them is much easier than trying to do it over, social media or website or something like that. If you can kind of deliver that data in person and do a good job of it, they're clients for life.
Yeah, I love this because it's universal advice. If you want more clients, go where your clients are. If your
Yeah.
clients, you got to be at the golf course. You got to talk to the pros. You got to be where your clients are in order to get their attention. And I completely agree. There's no, for everything that's done online when it comes to fitness or anything else, there's still something to be said for getting in front of people, getting in front of having something real, something they can touch, something tangible, particularly in golfers. They spend, every weekend they can outside in some of the most beautiful parks. on the planet. And that's actually an analogy that I heard from when I was with the Cosgroves at Results Fitness. We had a golf program starting there, and we had a golfer come in, and was talking to her about golf, and I was like, "What do you like most about it?" She said, "There's some of the most beautiful parks in the world. Nobody stops for a second and goes, wow, this golf course is a gorgeous park, and I'm going to walk around the park all day." And
Yeah.
so that sort of tangible feel of like, let me go to the park, let me go to where the clients are and get them and go, hey, I can help you enjoy this even more. I think it's a very powerful message. And especially that reinforcement of that really organic leads are still the strongest, still the most powerful way to get people in.
Yeah,
When it
definitely.
comes to keeping these clients, and I mean, that's a lot of work, going out, building connections, doing the network, building relationships with these people. So we're obviously going to want to do everything we can to keep them. What do you find is the most powerful strategies when it comes to retaining golfers as clients, and how do you keep programs fresh and appealing, to ensure ongoing engagement and satisfaction?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's really two things. I think one thing is if you can make it a one-stop shop where they have instruction, all that kind of stuff, that's always going to help with retention, because if they're coming in and getting lessons and fitness and everything under one roof, the chances of them continuing to come is obviously pretty high. But I think the other thing, like I mentioned before, with golfers being very type A, is I think you also have to give them a way to measure their progress. So that's why, I know I'm kind of, beating a dead horse here with the TPI stuff and mentioning a ton, but I'm a big believer in TPI. And what TPI allows us to do is give them a screen at the beginning, and it gives them a golf fitness handicap similar to what their regular handicap is. So let's say they start at 30 as their golf fitness handicap. We'll test that again every 8 to 10 weeks or so. And now they've moved to 24, 25, and we'll continue to do that process because golfers want to see, how am I getting better? What are the numbers? What are the results? Especially if they're hitting on TrackMan all day and already seeing the numbers with their club head speed and all that kind of stuff. So that just adds another tool for us to be able to measure progress. And then that also gives us a chance to keep the programs fresh, like you said, because we may figure out after 8 weeks, okay, now their pelvic tilt is awesome, but they're still struggling to separate their upper body and lower body. So now the program is going to shift to doing more of that, or doing more hip mobility, or whatever we find in the screen. But the more we can measure, the more we can give them data, the more they're going to want to continue to come, and the retention is going to be there.
Muted, man. Rookie mistake. Muted myself during the
I was
call.
going to say, did I just mute you, or did I do
No, it's
anything
me.
here?
It's me. It's me. It's all right. But I'm not going to edit it out. I'm going to let
All
them
right,
know
I love it.
this is
Gotta
what
be
happens
raw.
for
I
you.
love it.
So I can appreciate that but obviously for you, and a great piece of advice is that TPI is a great foundational organization to get into if you want to get your feet into this kind of business.
Mhm.
Where else should, and really the last question is, what other resources would you recommend to trainers or coaches that are looking to either start a business that involves golfers or extend to golfers as part of their business? We've got TPI. What else do you recommend?
Yeah, obviously TPI is a must, but other than that, I feel like just introducing yourself to local golf pros in the area, going and talking to them, taking lessons from them. Actually, how our second location partnership started here with the golf pros that we work with is I just reached out to a bunch of golf pros in the area, kind of told them my background with the body and fitness, and if they wanted to meet up. And one of the guys I ended up meeting up with, I started training him for several months. He was a ex-pro golfer, and he started giving me lessons, and we just kind of started talking more of the lingo of the golf swing and the body and that kind of stuff. And that led to us opening a facility together. And so I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen, but I do feel like just going out, introducing yourself to all the golf people in the area, golf pros, networking with them as much as you can, definitely going the TPI route. And then honestly, growing it is just like we said, the grassroots stuff, just going wherever golfers are at, going, volunteer at different tournaments or different stuff that's going on, just kind of start to establish yourself as the go-to golf brand. I feel like that's something lucky with us here, that when people think about golf fitness, we're the first ones that people think about in the area. So you really just have to continue to grow that, but build relationships with golf pros, definitely get started with TPI so that you can kind of learn the whole, business side of the golf fitness. But really just getting out there and starting to grow your brand, I think is the way to go.
Well, I do like the most valuable piece of advice being at the end of the video. So it's the last thing people remember. So if you're watching right now, remember that piece of advice. Go out, get into the community, go talk to the golfers, take some golf lessons, invest in them. They'll be more likely to invest in you. Dan, thanks so much for taking the time today, buddy. Where can people find you if they want to follow you and see more about what you do and what your business does? Where can we find you?
Yeah, definitely. My main website is just my first and last name, dankleckner.com. Have a lot of business videos on there, a lot of speaking stuff. And then I'm always on Instagram. If people want to connect there. I have business and, golf content there as well. And I do a lot of consulting for golf businesses, but also just regular semi-private fitness businesses as well. So happy to help out and mentor, whatever way I can.
Perfect. We'll send them your way. Dan, thanks so much again, man. I'm gonna find every reason possible to get you on for another interview. This was outstanding. Thanks again. Okay, so the point of the video was to focus on golfers, but if we were listening to the absolute gold that Dan was sharing with us, that's just great advice for opening any kind of gym. So look, guys, if you found something helpful in the video and some piece of advice that you want to put into play right away, help us out by liking, subscribing, and sharing to this video. We'll make sure you keep getting killer content with some of the best people in the business. We'll see you next week.